guys about a topic that really hit home for me. Basically, I worked at Value Village for quite some time, years, and I knew a lot of the regulars that came in regularly, like every day, every week, every month, just people that came in to shop there every so often. And because I worked there for so long, I kind of became their friends, so to speak, and talk with them, like so many people, men, women, children, grandpas, couples, it doesn't matter. Like I just had known a lot of shoppers that shopped there at Value Village. This one couple in particular, they were husband and wife and they had kids. They were just like a regular family who came and shopped there. They loved Value Village. They loved to donate to the Canadian Diabetes Association. They just loved to shop around and look around, and they were like the nicest people, one of the nicest customers that I knew there, and you could like easily talk to them. They weren't like an annoying, sit there and talk for like 20 minutes. They would just say, hey, how are you? And you know, be on their way. We all considered them family. We consider like everyone who shops their family, but this couple in particular was always there and truly cared about the workers. Like they would never say, you know, oh, I did this and I did this. They would always say, you know, how are you? And Larry, I'm gonna say his name, Larry would always say to me, he would call me by name, hi Sam. How are you, Sam? Like, what are you doing today? Is your health okay? And he would always be so concerned about us and keeping us like happy and healthy, so to speak. And I was on Facebook and I noticed that somebody that I had worked with for years posted from the Value Village team, like, I regret to inform you guys that Larry had passed away. And everyone was quite upset, commenting and saying, oh my gosh, like he was only 6 years older than my mom, so he was pretty young. It was hard, like, because I had known this guy and talked to him almost every single day and, you know, discussed life issues with him and just, you know, seen him as, you know, my family. And same with his wife. Just like any loss, somebody that's close to you, it does hit home and it's hard, and you just need to try to deal with that or cope with it in your own way, whatever that means for you. You need to try to heal your soul. And you know, I took a day, or a night I should say, I took a whole night just like thinking about all the good times that I had with him and his wife, and just, you know, reliving his moment and just looking up at the stars and, you know, just reminiscing, so to speak. And then I went on Facebook again, and there was a link from a different Value Village employee that I worked with to a Saskatoon Star Phoenix story, and it was about Larry and his wife. And I said, what the heck? So I opened the link, and the title right away, my jaw drops. The title says, Saskatoon Church cancels memorial over t-shirt. And I just went, what? Okay, first of all, you never really hear about that happening. Maybe in other cities, or maybe you guys have heard that, but in our city, you never hear that happening, like a church or a funeral home cancels a funeral for something that the other person did, or especially not judging over a t-shirt. So the story, I'm not going to read it all, but basically the story says, a Saskatoon widow scrambles to find a new venue for her husband's funeral after a local church canceled her booking based on how the deceased looked in his obituary. And right away I'm just like, what? He just looked like a regular everyday guy. Why would they put this? And it goes on. I don't want to give any specifics. This is very specific. The church canceled the booking on Monday. The worst part is why the church canceled. This is quotes. The funeral home called her Monday and told her that the church saw Larry's picture in the paper, and because of what they saw, they do not want his kind there. So she couldn't have the hall. Scrolling down a little bit, in the obituary photo, he has a mohawk and wears a t-shirt displaying the words Sons of Anarchy, a television show about a biker gang. And basically the person who booked the hall, which was a volunteer, thought he was in a biker gang, so they canceled his funeral, and the memorial canceled his memorial and told them that they couldn't have the memorial anymore. So there's a whole other story. There's like specifics and people saying things, but they don't want his kind there because of judgment of his appearance. That is absolutely ridiculous, because he is, or was, such a great person. He always cared about other people. Like his wife was the same. they don't want his kind there. You don't even know his kind. You don't even know who he is. You're judging by a picture because of a shirt. I would like to know from you guys who watches Sons of Anarchy, who has watched Sons of Anarchy, whose parents or, brothers or sisters watch Sons of Anarchy. Probably a lot of people. I personally have never seen the show, but I know what it is, and I would never diss somebody on, Sons of Anarchy. You don't cancel somebody's memorial because of Sons of Anarchy. Like, they did nothing wrong. Sons of Anarchy is just a show. Again, I've never seen it, so I can't, dwell into that, but how, and because he had a mohawk, this guy was such a cool and down-to-earth person, and it is horrible to see this happen. So this is Larry's photo. I had to put it in. I was contemplating whether or not I should use his name or, his picture or anything, but I want this to be known, and I don't care who sees this video or what happens, or if the funeral home happens to see this video, but I won't mention the funeral home. Looking at a picture, looking at anyone's picture, you can never judge how they are. Like, I can't say to you guys, look at his picture and see how sweet he was, because you can't do that. You can't see how somebody was or is or anything. But from looking at somebody's picture and judging them based on what they're wearing, my boyfriend wears baggy clothes, he has hats on all the time, and he doesn't care, wears chains and everything. He could be the worst person ever, or he could be the nicest person ever, you don't know. Same with me. I look a certain way, and I could be a total bitch, or I could be the sweetest person you'd ever know. You just don't know. So you can never judge somebody off of what they're wearing or what they look like. It is ridiculous, and not only that, but he is not in this physical living world anymore, so what does it matter what shirt he wore? Right? Like, what does it matter that he liked Sons of Anarchy or had a mohawk? We should never be judging that. Let's just say he was in a bike gang, which he was not, but if he was in a bike gang, so what? If you're in a biker gang, you can't have a funeral? If you're a biker, or if you like Sons of Anarchy, you're not allowed to have a funeral? That is absolutely ridiculous. And his wife, or her, poor everyone involved, his children and just everyone, all of his family and friends and just everyone involved. How sad for them, because in my opinion, and from my professional opinion in the funeral industry that I worked with, the funeral and memorials are not for the deceased, they are for the family. It is to showcase the deceased and the person that did pass away, but it's more to heal the family's soul and heart and to help them cope with the loss. It just boggles my mind, and I would love to know what you guys think. And I am honestly, and not just because I knew him, honestly, he was one of the nicest guys that I've ever met, and not somebody that judged. And that's just so ironic to say, but he is not somebody that judged you. I mean, I had pink streaks in my hair, I had big piercings on my face. Now I've toned them down and not have huge jewelry, but I would do really thick makeup, and I would always push my boobs out, and have all this dramatic stuff. And then other people I worked with, were very plain, so to speak, and didn't wear any makeup, and he didn't care. He talked to everyone and treated everyone with respect. So he was number one in not judging, and I can't believe this has happened to him and his family. So for me and for Larry's family, it does hit a little bit closer to home, but for everyone just watching, even if you didn't know who Larry was, just the situation in itself, how do you guys feel? Do you feel that people should be judged on their looks? Right away, I say that's absurd, but there are some people in this world who do, obviously, because it happened. I just feel that bikers shouldn't get a memorial or a funeral service. If you drive a motorcycle, if you like a certain TV show, if you have a certain haircut, do you not deserve a funeral or a memorial? This is just outrageous to me, and I never say that I want people to watch my videos or I want to be famous. I only want, the cuties to watch, because I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. That's the only people that I would love to watch my videos. However, for this specific video, I would love the Sons of Anarchy, or whoever produces, directs, script writers, the guys involved, the wives, anyone, any of the actors or the participants in the Sons of Anarchy. I would love somebody to know this story or watch this video or anything. I would just love for them to see what a funeral home did because of the love for their show. And I'm in no way dissing their show. That's not what I mean when I come across that way. I'm meaning this person who canceled because of the show is ridiculous. Because even though I've never seen the show, nothing should be canceled because of a show. And you know what? I'm going to watch The Sons of Anarchy. If I ever see it on, I will be definitely sitting down and watching it and giving it a chance for Larry and for the Sons of Anarchy, because they do not deserve to have their name bashed for any reason, unless they are a horrible, unless they're horrible, unless they have a horrible show, unless they're, doing bad things. But you should never have your funeral canceled because you like something. So that's my rant for the day. I want to know your guys' opinions, and I will talk to you guys later. I would like everyone to just take a moment and try to put yourself in this situation for a second and just see what you would truly do. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, guys. The quality of this stopped me right away. And then I look, and it's Tory Burch. My size small, for $7.99. They don't really know what they're